Welcome. For today, you just need somewhere comfortable that you can sit and a place where you can kind of lie down on the ground or on a mat. And we'll just start in sitting and just kind of settle in. And so you can do that with your eyes open or you can do that with your eyes closed. And for me today, I'm actually going to put both hands right over my heart. Just like give myself a little pressure right at my chest. And I can even very slightly lift my chest into that pressure. As I notice my breath move in and out. So just use your breath. You're breathing all the time, right? But the way we breathe changes depending on how we feel, what position we're in, what we're doing. So at the beginning of practice, breathe and notice your breathing. Sometimes it's amazing how the simple act of placing your attention on something, noticing it, can shift it. And maybe notice if that's true for your breath. On your next inhale breath, really take a full inhale, fill up your whole rib cage. Pause at the top and then let it go. If your eyes are closed, you can open them. If your hands are lifted, you can lower them. And we'll go ahead and get started here with just a little bit of a stretch for our fingers and hands. So I'm going to attempt to mirror here. I'll do my best. Take your right hand forward, palm up, and then you're just going to use your left hand to grab your pointer finger. And so you can gently start to pull down on the end of your pointer finger. And if you keep your wrist neutral, that's going to place the stretch kind of more at the level of your finger, at your hand. If that feels okay and you want to let your wrist extend backwards, so kind of actually bending at your wrist a little bit, that'll change the stretch, the sensation. And if you straighten your elbow versus keeping your elbow bent, that will change the sensation. So you can kind of choose there. Release that and now take your middle finger. Decide what position you want. And now imagine that you're spreading all of your other fingers away from your middle finger. And maybe even pull all of your fingers, except your thumb, forward a little bit and notice how that feels. Breathe and notice your breathing. And then release and go for your ring finger. So again, you get to decide like how much of each possibility I'm offering that you're going to do today. So you can have everything extended. You can have your elbow, your wrist bent up a little bit. But do try and spread your fingers apart and draw all of your other fingers forward. Release. Go for the pinky. For me, it's very interesting to see which fingers I can pull forward with one finger back. Breathe. Then release and now come under your hand and grab hold of your thumb. So I actually try and grab at like the meaty part of my thumb as best I can and pull it out and then back gently. And then I try and spread all my other fingers away from my thumb. Good. And then release that. Now, your right wrist should potentially be on top of your left wrist. So flip both of your thumbs down so that your palms are coming together, and see if you can grab hold of your hands with your right wrist on top of your left. And then we're just going to flip through. And so you just come through and take your elbows as straight as you can without too much crankiness in the wrists, and then flip them back. We'll just do a few rounds of that. Maybe like 2 or 3 times, flipping through the center. You might have a lot of movement or very little, and it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to give your wrists and elbows some action. And then let that go. Take your arms wide, big inhale. And exhale, release your hands. Now take your left hand forward, come up underneath, and take the pointer finger on your left hand. So again, decide how much pull you want. Spread your other fingers away. Pull your other fingers forward as you pull your pointer finger backward. Release, do your middle finger. Spread your other fingers, draw them forward. Breathe. Ring finger, pull it back, spread your other fingers, draw them forward. Breathe. And pinky finger, draw it back, spread your other fingers, and pull away from your pinky. And then go underneath, come up to the inside of your thumb and grab hold. And then take your thumb not just straight down, but also out to the side. Spread your other fingers and try and pull your other fingers away from your thumb. Take a breath. And then with your left hand on top of your right, flip everything down, thumbs down, palms together, and interlace your hands if you can, and just start to flip. Go nice and slowly. Center your breath here. Maybe one more. And then release, stretch your arms side to side. Inhale, and then as you exhale, release your hands. And now go ahead and let your legs come forward. If you were sitting cross-legged, just switch the cross of your legs. I got to remember which side I was on. I think this is right. Okay. And from here, take your right arm out to the side. And so think about your elbow and the front of your shoulder moving as one, and try to rotate your elbow crease and the front of your shoulder up toward the ceiling. And you're just doing your best there. Like the front of your shoulder is going to rotate differently. So you're just trying to let the rotation come from there. Reach your hand away from you, spread your fingers, turn your head to the left. Take a breath. And as you exhale, start to walk your left hand out to the left. So you're leaning over to the left. Let your head relax down, and then flip your right hand and bring it behind your back. So I'm just taking the back of my hand toward my low back. And take a breath here. And gently come up through center. Release your right hand and stretch your left hand out to the side. Your elbow crease in the front of your shoulder, turn them up toward the ceiling. Reach your arm away from you, spread your fingers, turn your head to the right. Take a breath. And as you exhale, start to walk your right hand out to the right. That's optional. Let your head fall over to the right. You're welcome to stay like this, or you can reach the back of your hand toward your low back. I actually like to press the back of my hand gently into my low back because I feel that a little bit differently. And then release. Come up through center. Good. And then from here, we'll make our way to hands and knees. And so you're welcome to put something under your knees if you like. But just find your way to hands and knees here and move through a little cat and cow. So let your belly drop down, your butt and your face look up. And then switch directions, round your spine like a Halloween cat. Push in your hands, push your knees down, really get rounded. And then switch. So just back and forth between those two positions. See if you can feel for movement in between your shoulder blades as well as at your low back. Breathe and notice your breathing. Let's do one more each way. And then come back to center and make your way onto your belly. And so from here, we'll take your hands, your wrists, underneath your elbows. So actually the heels of my hands aren't all the way down. I'm kind of more on like the knuckle ridges. And that way I just have a little more space and my wrists get a little stretch. Kind of grip the floor with my finger pads and then do shoulder circles right here. See if you can make the back of your neck long so you're kind of looking straight down at the ground. And I'm just circling my shoulders up toward my ears, up toward the ceiling, down toward my hips, down toward the ground. And making circles that way. Do 2 or 3 more like that. And then with my next exhale, I'm going to release and start to walk my hands out in front of me. And so I'm just going to crawl my hands forward as much as I can. And then lift the tops of my feet just a little bit off the ground and stretch out through my toes, really getting lots of length from the tips of my toes through my fingertips. Take a big breath in and out. From here, roll on to either side, whichever one lets you be able to see for this first round. And so here you're welcome to stay with your knees stacked, just like this. So where we're headed is we're gonna put our legs in one position, and then we're just gonna slowly roll our upper back more toward the ground, chest more toward the ceiling, so that we're coming into a twist. So you could do that with your knees stacked like this, and then you can roll back. Your head can be on the ground, or you can put a pillow or something under your head, right, if it helps you. So that's leg position 1. You could also have your bottom leg extended out so that your top leg is bent, and you could do that same thing. You could just lie on your side, or you can start to roll backwards. The other option is you can start in leg position 2 and then bend your bottom knee. So I'm trying to get my bottom leg foot to point up toward the ceiling, and then I see if my hand can reach it. And if you try it and you're like, no, then this isn't the leg position to do for right now, because we're not trying to stress out or anything. But if your hand reaches it and you want to give it a try, you can roll that shoulder back and then roll into your twist. I call this the pretzel variation. And so you just choose one of those leg positions, find a twist, and then breathe. Long breath in, slow breath out. Slowly release. Second side, so you can come back onto your side and then you can just roll over to the second side. I like to flip so that I can keep looking at you. Okay, and so again, both knees stacked, roll your chest open, bottom leg straight, top leg bent over. And you can roll your chest open. You may or may not have to roll very far, or bend your bottom knee so that your toes point up toward the ceiling and then see if you can grab your foot. And then you roll the whole thing open, but just kind of roll that top shoulder back if you're grabbing your foot. And so the thing with this is breathe. That there isn't a position that is magical or that makes you a better person or anything like that. So really, the idea is to choose based on what you feel you most need right now. One more full breath in, slow breath out. And then slowly release. Make your way back to your side. Take a breath there, and then press yourself up. And just come on up to sitting. And so you can stretch your legs forward initially. You're welcome to sit back on your sitting surface. You can bring the soles of your feet together and your knees apart. And now I'm not bringing it as close as I can here. I'm actually kind of giving myself a little more space in this one. I'm going to keep my left hand back behind me. Squeeze your feet toward one another and twist to the left. So right hand towards your left leg. And as you twist to the left, reach your right knee to the right and just notice what that's like. Breath in, breath out. Come back to center. And now take your left foot and either stack the outside of your foot on top of your right foot or stack the outside of your foot kind of in the middle of your shin. And then we're just going to lean away, bring your left hand to your thigh, and I'm going to try and imagine elongating my leg. So I'm going to grab my leg, and the direction that I'm pushing is out to the side. The direction that my leg is moving, I realize is down, but that's not really the way I'm pushing. And so I'm just going to do a couple of press and release. Just really kind of getting into your hip and low back a little bit there. And then let that go. Place your left foot back down into that. This is omega pose, kind of making an omega with our legs. And now twist to your right. So as you twist to your right, stretch your left knee away from you. And release. Bring that back to center. Stack your right foot on top of your left or in the middle of your shin. Lean away and then elongate that leg. Just kind of press and release a few times here. Back through center, stretch both legs forward. You can bring your hands behind you and kind of press forward. You can bring your hands in front of you and do a gentle lean forward here. Take a breath. And then come back up through center. And from here, you can lie down and find a restful kind of lying position on the ground, or you can find a comfortable sitting position that feels restful to you. So you get to choose here. Lie down, sit up. We set up for a lot of practice today, so if lying down sounds like a great idea, please go for it. But wherever you end up, we'll do a few breaths of sort of this breathing technique. And so if you can imagine this area of your rib cage, kind of like the bottom half of your rib cage, the part of your rib cage that's below your chest. Really send your attention there, and especially kind of to like the back sides of that rib cage. So I actually kind of like grab hold of it as best I can with my hands, just so that I can bring my attention there for the first couple of these. And so what we're gonna do is take a breath in and then pause at the top of your breath. And then in order to take more breath in, you're gonna imagine expanding that part of your rib cage to allow for more breath to come in. And essentially what we do when we do that is like getting a stretch to your spine and your rib cage from the inside out. And then we'll let the breath go. So you can give it a try here. Let all your air go. And then take a long breath in. Really expand that bottom half of your rib cage. Pause when you get to the top. Relax your shoulders. And now think about expanding that part of your rib cage even more and take a little more air in. Pause. And then let it go. You can let it go nice and slowly. And then take a normal, kind of regular breath in between so that you can notice what happens when you do that. And we'll do it again. You can do it with your hands, or if you feel like you kind of have an idea where that is, you can do it without. Or maybe you can't even reach there because it's kind of tight. Long inhale. Pause at the top. Expand your rib cage. Take a little more air in. Slowly let it go. And just a nice regular breath. Notice how it feels. And let's do 3 more like that at your own pace. Really focusing on that lower part. And before you take your extra breath in, relax your shoulders so that you can really try and focus on that lower part of your rib cage. And then let your regular breath be as long as it wants to be. Couple more at your own pace. Once you've done a few like that, then you can just allow your breath to be very relaxed and natural. Notice what your breathing feels like Notice if it feels different from when you started. Notice if you feel different from when you started. When we do these practices, it isn't really in the doing that the benefit comes, it's in the noticing. And if you're lying down and you have longer to stay, feel free to, but otherwise slowly begin to make your way first to your side and then to sitting. And with your next inhale, once you're sitting, maybe reach your arms up overhead. Bring your palms to touch and then down to heart center. And as we leave our practice, may we continue noticing. And may we use this noticing to care for ourselves and to care for each other, and even to care for those that we don't know. Thank you.